So, episode 2.
Yes.
We get to see all our folks on the lower floor, our downstairs people.
Yes, our upstairs, downstairs.
Yeah, so now we learned about the downstairs. We learned a little bit about them with that whole party thing and all that. But now their intimate stories, though. So, starting with Miss Bauer.
Yes, Mrs. Bauer.
So this big ugly man, this big lunk of a man, he's scary.
Oh
He
no!
knocks her against the wall. We don't know what
I
in the
can't
world
walk
is going
like
on.
it hurts me to watch him slam her against that wall like that. Pumpkin snitching out the window.
Yeah, and she's upset. And
You were talking about Bridget.
Bridget's
Before.
upset. She wants to know what's wrong. She knows something's wrong. She knows she's not just chopping onions.
Right,
She knows
that was
that
ridiculous.
something is wrong.
That made me think about their relationship too.
right.
Because obviously Mrs. Bauer is a mother, grandmother
sure,
type of figure to
sure,
Bridget. So I was
sure.
wondering, how close are they? What do
Right.
they share? But yeah, she's like, lady, you ain't fooling nobody.
Something is wrong with you, and it is not onions.
And also, I noticed that little look like, oh, Peggy knows, but I don't know.
Right.
Like,
And that's the first time she gets to, when she says, just tell her, I'm ashamed. He comes back that second time, and that's when Peggy sees what's going on. The first time, it was just her.
right.
Second time, Peggy saw all those people in the street, and Peggy was so sweet to her when she said, I've got these candlesticks. I'm a thief, a common thief. She was like, you were just frightened
you
to death.
scared,
What's
right.
going on? And then they just kind of band together to protect her. And Agnes, who knows all, knows nothing about it.
Right.
Oscar knows, Ada knows, Peggy knows, Marion knows, because it keeps
All through the
escalating.
grapevine.
And we also learned about Armstrong.
What did we learn we didn't already know?
We knew she was a racist. She seemed to get along with everybody else because when they were all anticipating what is Marion going to be like in the first one. But this episode,
when she cut Bridget.
everybody.
Yeah.
What did she say?
Yeah.
She cut Bridget.
Mm-hmm.
She talked about Marion being too poor. Bridget being too poor because all Oscar wants is money. Everybody know he just
As
a gold
Bannister
digger.
said, if you done with just talking bad about everybody, can we serve lunch now?
Everybody.
Yeah.
Everybody.
She just back there being negative ladies' maids.
Right.
What's an Armstrong and Turner?
Right.
What's wrong with y'all?
Y'all don't know how to, because somebody know how to put your clothes on for you, it's okay to have these snippy snakes around.
Oh my goodness. I was gonna say, folks, these women need to do their due diligence when they're hiring ladies' maids. And remember, Ada told Marion, I don't like Armstrong. I ain't never. So,
Right.
so why do you like this woman so much? Is she that good at her job?
Apparently, she seems to be. But she is unpleasant to be around for everybody. I don't see her being pleasant to anybody.
The only person she doesn't do that with is Bannister and Mrs. Bauer.
Well,
They put her in her place.
Well, and she knows they're equals. Number one, she knows Miss Bauer is an equal, so that's not going to happen.
In age and station.
But Bannister's everybody's boss.
Yep.
And that's what makes Turner look so ridiculous because Church is her boss.
Exactly.
And it's not that she doesn't like it. It's just she's so disrespectful to him and disrespectful in front of the rest of the staff. But whatever.
Saying too big for his britches. His britches are big.
That's
What
it.
do you mean?
But no, that snake thing in these ladies' maids, I don't know what that's all
Speaking
about.
of running the house, so when George tells Bertha, did you talk to
Miss Morris.
Miss Morris?
Yeah.
No. Answer the question. He didn't ask you all that. Just
Right.
so no, you don't talk.
Right.
He didn't ask, did you have a fight and make? You don't talk to her. Invite them over to dinner. They wouldn't come. So now they wouldn't come?
Right.
After you done got your feelings
Embarrassed.
hurt and embarrassed in front of the whole quadrant of the city,
Right.
now they wouldn't come.
Right.
He knows what he's doing.
Right.
He knows if you invite both of them to dinner, not an open house expecting 200 people, that this man will be curious about business and assume that, which he did, and that it's like, just do it anyway. And she was looking all, okay.
But she did it.
George, she did.
Because she knows that his business, again, is important to her. Again, she don't want to know about the business. I don't want to talk about it at dinner table.
No.
But I do want you to be successful.
Because
so
I want to keep all
you
of
want
this.
to talk to this alderman, then okay, I'll do it.
Right.
Conversely, what happened when Mr. Morris told Miss Morris he wanted to find out what he was being offered? What did she do and say? She doesn't understand. I don't understand anything.
And it's not just that she didn't want to go to their house. All right, we get that. It's after he explained it.
Right.
Well, it's probably because of the... Well, does that make a difference? Well, yeah, it does, or you wouldn't have brought it up, woman. And then that whole, okay, well, it's about... But you're not going to accept his offer. You don't even know what the offer is.
I want to know what I'm turning down. I don't know. What if Miss Esther hears about it?
Miss Aston knows how the world works. Like you said, ma'am, do you know how we get all of this and keep it?
And how did she make it this far? And obviously has some level of power.
Morris or Astor?
Morris. In the world of charities, which seems to be the biggest thing they ever get to do. Right. Charities and balls.
Right.
You don't know how the world works. You don't know that Miss Astor has already let some people in that you probably wouldn't have accepted.
Exactly.
Because of what? Money.
Exactly.
It has to do with business,
connections,
and money.
Yep.
Period.
And the connections are to get money
Right.
and power. The business is to get money. That's what it's all about.
I don't care how long you've had land. I don't care if it was in the south, east, north, or west. That isn't going to sustain y'all forever. Land.
Right.
Now people are making millions and millions of dollars with all this new technology, all these things they're doing, the trains and all these tracks all over the country. So you need more cars. Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
You don't know how the world works.
Yeah.
Please stop it.
And that's another point about the old versus the new. When Mrs. Astor said to somebody, they've been landowners for 2 centuries or more.
So,
like this is feudalism or something.
Right, so
there was landowners over there in Holland,
right.
over there in Germany and Prussia. So you had like we said, McAllister from down south.
Right.
So you had a plantation
right.
or something like that. That is not sustainable, darling.
Agnes, we've been here since 16. Okay.
This is post-Civil War.
Right.
And now you're all in row houses right next to each other.
Post-Civil War. And the Industrial Revolution. Come on. Stop.
Nobody care who been on land. So what does that mean?
Right.
And how did y'all get the land?
Right.
How did your ancestors acquire that?
Right, because they paid fair market value to the people who were already on
Everyone's
the land.
such a gentleman.
And they paid people to work the land. They paid them a fair salary. That's how Mr. McAllister and his wife made their money.
They were like a family.
Yep.
Like
they treated them all.
Yeah, right.
Yep, that's how it happened. That's how it happened.
So Mr. Morris told this woman one time, the first time, yeah, he controls a lot of stuff in this city. We're going to go see what he wants to say. Then, interrupting their fundraising tea meeting, he said again, so you not going to get this lady you do know who her husband is? Okay, that was number 2.
Couldn't get her, and she can't have a table. The reason was just so hilarious, and everybody's nodding their head. This is for women and children. It must be as pure as a driven snow. What the hell are you talking about? What? It's a charity fundraiser. What do you think she's gonna? She ain't gonna strip at the. What are you talking about?
What is dirty about her?
And also, why can Chamberlain come through the door since being in her presence just soils and defiles you to even be in her. But she can come and spend her money at that thing for these, poor mothers and their unhappy children. Oh my God, Astor sounds are so ignorant when she. Spend what you can for these poor mothers and their unhappy children. And some of it's said for orphans. That ain't they unhappy children. That's the children with nobody to be unhappy with.
That is what she does.
Yep, that's what they do. Oh my God.
How happy are y'all children?
Right. Oh, and their children are happy. Because Marion and Gladys are happy as they can be.
Oh my
They're
goodness.
2 happy campers.
Oscar too. We talk about him bribing and not bribing, blackmail and being conniving and gold digger and all of that.
And all
which
them
is true.
sharp remarks he makes to his mother, like his
However,
mother.
I was gonna say we said he gets that from Agnes because
Sure.
that's how she talks to people
Sure,
too.
sure.
So she's quipping folks and all cold and stoic. We don't know what kind of monster his daddy was.
But a monster, we know.
Ask Sally what Richardson Whitfield said. Everyone comes from
Right.
wherever they come from. So yeah, that's another. How happy was Oscar's childhood?
Not very.
These unhappy children.
Right,
Whatever.
right. Oh, y'all got unhappy children.
Larry's happy.
Yeah, Larry's a happy camper. Well, first Agnes says, have him for tea.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't want to be beholden to
Miriam's
him.
like, no, we good.
It's okay. He don't have to come.
Nope.
And when he gets there, she is so uncomfortable when they're having their
Obviously.
conversation. You pointed out how he was turned away from the aunts.
Completely. He had his back to Aunt Agnes. It's like, how rude is that?
You just met these women, you're in their home, and instead of engaging everybody in conversation, you leaning on, I would think you'd be happy that I might get a job.
Right.
Who the heck is you?
Get out my face.
Oh, my
and
God.
why would I be pleased about that?
It was very creepy,
Mhm.
and I'm sure for 1882, it was extremely inappropriate because Agnes was rolling her eyes like nobody's business.
And once again, rude to the hostesses and these elders who have invited you into their house.
And as enamored as he was with Marion, and as intrigued as he was to talk to her, as soon as Oscar Van Ryn,
Yep.
she introduced him to Larry, introduced him to Oscar. That man made a beeline over and started talking to Mr.
Yep.
Van Ryn. So
Yep.
that was hit number one that, this man.
He don't like you that much.
Nah, he's trying to get in where he can fit in, and you the
Mhm.
only person he knows. He's in this house now, and he want to stop it.
She was even uncomfortable when he saying goodbye to her at the door.
She's blushing, looking away, like,
Mhm.
oh.
That's
this is-
slightly confused.
I would hope that you know I want to be your friend or whatever foolishness he said about
That whole
being a
dialogue
friend.
didn't quite make
It was
sense
just
either. That was weird
silly.
writing. I want to be your friend.
Oh.
Oh, there's something you can do for me.
Is that what? That's what
That's
friendship
what
is.
she got that transactional stuff down quick.
And that's when I first noticed how she made a difference between when she was talking to Peggy and when she was talking about Peggy.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really pay attention the first time when they first arrived at the house in episode 1 when she said, can Miss Scott wait in the base downstairs?
Yep.
Why did she have to? She could have waited in the foyer.
Yep.
She could have waited in the parlor.
Yep.
She could have. Why did you ask downstairs? When
Mhm.
she was talking to that man about whether he would, well, you know, I know she has a good reason, and I don't know what it's about, but you know, she's a solid person. She was like trying to talk him out of it. I have to tell you, she's colored. But if you don't want to do it, I'll understand. But if you know somebody else, but if even that's like, why are you trying to talk him out of it?
He didn't even
say
answer
no.
yet.
It was like, if I get to see you again, sure, meet me in the park, bring her along, I'm good.
And like we said, he's one of the few people who just treats Peggy like a person. Him and the aunts is in Bannister.
Yep.
It just automatically, because even sweet Mrs. Bauer at first, you could tell that's one of those examples of she's never been around black people in a meaningful way. It was like,
But she was kind to her.
she
was
was.
cautious.
Marion actually forgets Peggy is there whenever she runs into
That's
someone.
what happened to the park at the park.
Yep.
She was at the park to take Marion to meet Rakes.
Peggy, you mean?
Peggy was at the Marion
was at the park to take Peggy.
to meet Rakes.
Right.
Right. And they just stood talking about the statue, talking about, and he had to turn around before she finally I thought she had already introduced her. And she was she hadn't even introduced her to this man.
No.
And when he left the park, he nodded to her. He referred
Yep.
to her as Miss Scott. He told her
Yep.
he was in the office. He's always courteous
Yep.
to her.
Wait though, back at the park, talking about you must send me the bill.
You ain't got no money.
What you gonna do with the bill, Marion?
The woman who loaned you money has a job in a salary.
And asked to meet the attorney. So
She
did
didn't
you
tell you, I want to meet an attorney, and by the way, I can't pay for it.
I'm like, what did you think, what kind of transaction Peggy was going to make after she met this man? You didn't think that she knew fees were involved? Just ignorant and weird. Marion just,
strange.
She doesn't see her own prejudice. It's
No.
those little things that add up over and over again.
No, she doesn't see herself. She doesn't see herself at all. Not at all.
Like we said, a lot of these folks, Agnes don't see all the stuff that's going on in her son.
Right.
Like he can do no wrong. You know he's a fortune hunter too.
Right.
But somehow Oscar is just,
yep.
This man came back in town from Europe, done gone to a party. You sent him mail. You sent him a note
to Newport.
at the so you knew he was there,
yep.
and still hadn't come by to see you.
Yep, at all.
But he's just so wonderful. Yeah, okay.
Oscar's
Agnes.
coming to dinner. Oscar's invited himself to lunch. Like, okay.
Mrs. Morris can't see how she's hurting her husband's business.
She's totally blind. Comes to somebody's house. Okay, you don't want to go. You agreed to go. So you're going to sit at this woman's table and obviously just insult her taste, insult her home, insult her builder, just obviously do it at her dinner table. But Bertha, of course, Bertha knows how to get back at somebody.
I was going to say, she had a snapback.
And her snapback was this is the one time when she did it in a very elegant way. Because Bertha...
Probably the only time.
Yeah, usually when she snapped back, she's snapping. She knew she was snapping, but she just did it in such a, But yeah, that was a very weird thing. If you're gonna go, then go.
I'm gonna say, whether the task be great or small,
right. Help your husband.
Do it well, or not you there.
So now you're gonna be rude. Yeah, she was really. That was a very uncomfortable scene. That was just silly. She's just silly.
Well, George had his snapback. However, like we were saying in the last episode, it seems like Julian Fellows really wants us to root for Bertha and her endeavors.
Right.
And I thought about this later on. So these women were rude to you.
Right.
Yes, you did not give them any reason to be. Right. However, you know how things are in this. So
because you're trying to break into society.
Exactly.
You know that.
So she offered the bar. If anything happens 2 times, well, like I said, if anything happened, something happened. Why did you automatically? Did Mrs. Morris say yes? She clearly said, we are not coming here for nothing, no matter what happens, Bertha. And that's what ended up. So you're going to throw your breakfast tray.
For somebody else to have to clean that room full of, you got velvet and silk and rugs and your bed, and somebody got to clean that mess up because you had a hissy fit over a newspaper article.
Stuff done flown everywhere. But she did like it was such a shock and surprise, though. She didn't agree and then renege on it. Once again, you just assumed that, once they saw this ballroom, they can't resist. No, darling.
They don't like you. They don't care what the ballroom is like. They don't like you.
So they decided to have it at this other, and like she said, we got to pay now. The funds, whatever we raise is going to come down because we got to pay money.
This place is in the area that's going down. It's not even the hotel anymore.
A down-at-heel hotel.
Right.
But maybe they didn't want to have it at anybody's house. Maybe they didn't. Whatever the reason was, the Russells are acting like this was some huge injury and they deserve to get payback or something.
And we should be rooting.
Yeah.
Now, I will say, George, the first time I saw that scene, it wears on you. The first time I saw that scene and saw him go in there and do that, it was just because I don't like them.
It was satisfying.
It's because I don't like Miss Morris, period.
Yeah.
So to me, it was a great scene and I loved watching it. But like you said, Bertha, who are you?
Right.
Why should anybody have something? So you're going to throw a fit. You're throwing a fit because somebody won't come to your house, so you just gonna shut their stuff down. That's our review. Well, she was hurt when they didn't come to the at home, so now their thing has been just wiped away. It's not the same thing at all.
No.
You're a stranger. You're not in their society. You're not in their group. They don't want to go to your house. Like, say they might not want to go. They all got houses.
Exactly. Mrs. Astor got a ballroom.
They don't want to do it in a house.
There could be several reasons. But
and they don't like you.
I was going to say, I flipped the script like I do with many things, and I put it in modern times.
Right.
And I thought, if I hit the lottery, and for some reason I lost my mind and I was no longer me and wanted to get into...
Right. High society.
Right. The Detroit and all the suburbs, high society, whoever these women are, because I don't know who they are in
all
real
these
life.
dull and stupid women that you want to be friends
You
with.
love quoting that.
Oh my God.
So, but we've seen some of them at some fundraisers
Yes,
we've
we
been
have.
to, though. We
Yes,
have
we
met
have.
some well-known names and
Yeah.
stuff, and it's like, ugh, that's what you're like?
Mm-mm.
So I was thinking, so they're having a fundraiser. They're doing something for the auto show, or they're doing something for
The Belle Isle Conservatory.
Right, I was going to say cancer research or whatever. And I told them, well, you could have it at my house in Boston Edison District if something goes wrong. And then they ended up having it at the Fox Theater or something. What?
Okay,
No, I have no... Really?
Destroy it. Destroy it. They deserve it. They didn't have it at your house. Destroy it.
Marion was on their side. I don't blame him one little bit.
Miriam just likes trouble.
So she liked drama.
Miriam just likes trouble. Julian Fellows, not only does he want us to root for Bertha, he wants us to see Marion in a certain way. She has a modern perception. Things should be forgiven. That may be true. She's a young woman, and the young people like little Astor and Oscar, they don't mind mixing with these young folks who come from these other families. It ain't no thing to them. They don't care. But the bottom line is, why do you think anybody should just like you?
And just change
why
just like that,
does Marion think that these people, when she mentioned Bertha the first time, okay, why not? She's got a lot of money. I don't understand what the difference is.
We trying to
Nobody
raise money.
Explain this to me. Okay, so Chamberlain did whatever. She doesn't know yet what was wrong, but she knows she did something that must be awful. But did Miss Russell do something that was awful?
Right.
Why? Okay, so you ask. You see what kind of people you're dealing with. You know that they're snobs. You think that these rules are strange, but you know that they're their rules.
Right.
Why in the world was she so giddy when Miss Chamberlain came to her table? She could be polite to her and be nice to her, but why do you want to be her friend? Why are you fighting so hard for them to accept Bertha into this? What do you care?
Yep.
What do you care how much money? Do your part, okay?
Yep.
Sell your little hankies for $5 a
5
stack.
cents a packet.
Yep, and take the dollar that this lady was nice of you and thank her. I agree with her about that. I'm not gonna not speak to people just because
No.
but why are you fighting so hard for this woman?
Marion is very into forbidden fruit.
That's it. She
If
finds
you
it
tell
exciting.
her, don't do this, I wasn't even that interested. Well, but now I'm gonna do it all.
Peggy suggested she could go
That's
to the
what she
party.
is.
She snuck out and went to the party. My fellow conspirator. The aunts didn't like rakes. All of a sudden, he's attractive to you now.
Right.
You didn't at the train station.
No.
At your house.
No.
And at the park, when he
No.
kissed your hand, you were all like, "Oh, what's this?
Yeah,
What's going on?"
that was very
You
familiar.
were not interested in this man at all until your aunt said no.
nah.
Marion likes trouble.
'Cause
like you said, she liked drama.
That was her instincts kicking in.
Yep.
Rakes was raking.
Right.
That's what he was doing.
and her instincts
you
told
knew
her,
it.
Mm-mm.
And as soon as somebody said, you should stay away from, then, well, let me go find
Right.
out what he's about.
Go take that box back to this woman. Let me go see what she's like.
Oh my
Yeah,
goodness
she just like trouble. She ain't got nothing to do. They sitting around
That's her
playing
entertainment.
solitaire and making doilies and quilts.
And falling asleep
Right.
after they tipple.
All you got to do is paint your little ugly pictures that you be painting with your big old paint coat on. Please, she ain't got nothing to do. She don't know nobody. She don't go nowhere but the park.
Right.
Into Bloomingdale's to buy gloves.
Gloves.
That's it. That's all you do.
Oh my god.
Into a library that has no books you can read.
Right.
Oh, baby. I still don't get this. If Mr. Morris wanted his wife to be nice to Bertha, because he's so concerned about all this power that George has. You know, you fooling yourself if you don't think this man is powerful. You need to get a grip. Why are y'all backstabbing him in the back? So you think he's too powerful for the wives to snub his wife? That's going to save you? So you try to steal his business, but y'all nice his wife. Would that help y'all?
I think it was the timing. I think he meant until we make our move, I don't want to rock the boat. But once they pull that ooh, no pun intended.
Yeah.
Once they pull that trigger, though, then it doesn't matter. It's fine. It was up until their plot was in action and done. Then he did hubris, but just straight up hubris, like so many of them in that world. You think you're immune. You don't think anything bad can happen to you. You think you're smarter than everybody else, and your plans are infallible.
Aurora said, well, if it's never failed before, why isn't it working now? So they do this to people all the time.
Next episode.
All the time.
Yep. The gentleman.
Yes, but they're gentlemen. No.
And you can't see what kind of person you are yourself, Mr. Morris.
No.
Really? You think that you're a good person and your wife is a good person? This is how you do business.
Yeah.
And this is how you treat. Like we said, the
gentleman.
first thing that George's secretary said was, so you want me to dig up some dirt? He's like, no. That's okay.
Yeah.
I know they want money.
Let's appeal to their greed.
Let me offer them a deal first.
Yeah.
And what we said before about business, we can all win.
Yeah.
They don't want to all win.
Nope.
This was, he gets his station, y'all get money, he let you in.
Yeah.
What's it called? Insider trading.
Right.
Before it was illegal.
Right.
Apparently.
Or if it was, whatever.
Right.
Let them in.
Right. And not just you.
Right.
All of you.
Yep.
Y'all could all get money. Even when he said and admitted, well, what if we don't have enough money? So that's a tell right there. You ain't even got enough money to buy up the stock.
No.
Solution, well, just use your margin account.
Yep.
And you gonna try to take this man down?
Take him down.
Why?
Like he said, too much greed.
Because one isn't enough. You want 3 times the four.
Right. You can't just make some money, some extra money.
I don't want nobody to die. However, I really didn't feel like, again, you're not this nice guy who just happened to no.
Y'all have done this as Mr. Fain said. They've done it over and over. It's worked over and over. You gentlemen are a bunch of thieves and snakes. That's what you are. That's what you gentlemen are.
On East 61st Street and 5th Avenue.
Yep, that's how you behave.